Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of IK Daily Talk. And today we have another, Winter Olympic edition. And we had quite a few good games today, and Iacob and I had a lot of games to look over, and we have to summarize because we decided we were going to summarize all the goals today. So, we'll summarize all those goals. We'll get all the news to you guys, which, mind you, there was not a lot of news, but there were a few notable things that happened today. And if we forget to mention anything, we apologize. But yeah, anyways, Jakob, since I haven't, queued you in yet, why don't you say what's up?
Welcome back to yet another episode. Yes, this is the next Olympics, and yes, this is the third YouTube video in a row that we've done. I'm home, the Wi-Fi is good, so we figured why not we make another YouTube video. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and start unless Kyle has anything else he'd like to say before we start today's podcast.
I think I'm ready to get right into it. And Jakob, the first game on the schedule for today, which will give everyone, a quick brief look at, the schedule from today. And then obviously, you can see prior to it as well. But on that note, yes, we will get into your first matchup. So I'll pull it up in just a sec here and I'll let you get started.
All right, so the first game that we had for today, unfortunately my iPad is dead, so I have to use my computer. So I'm gonna pull back and forth between for the goalies and stuff. But when it comes to the Switzerland Czechia game, this game saw the Swiss win 4-3 in overtime. This was the first overtime game this preliminary round, and it was a classic. So the way the goal scores were as following, obviously we can see here that there was a penalty taken by Damien Riot for high sticking, but fortunately nothing happened. And then we get to the first goal of the game, which was scored by the Czechs by Filip Chlapik. And this one, it was a 2-on-1, which the player who assisted it, I believe, was Martin Natchez. I'm not quite sure. I forgot to look up who passed it, but he
You're
backhands it
correct.
across, and Chaplik one times it in past I believe this game was Dostal for the Swiss.
For
No, it
Czech,
was Leonardo
yeah.
Giannoni. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I
Dostal
got
for the
this. I got this.
Czechs
Okay.
and Leonardo Giannoni for the Swiss.
Got it. And then to tie the game, we see an interference penalty taken by a single tackler, but obviously nothing happens. Then a few penalties here and there, and then Roman Yossi scores, where Roman Yossi basically takes the puck in and he tried to pass it across to the other side to JJ Moser, but it hit off Gudas's skate and it went 5-hole on Dostal. So Roman Yossi got very lucky. And then we see a penalty that was taken by Roman Cervenka, and this one actually was costly for the Swiss, as this is where the Swiss take the lead of the game, where Roman Yossi basically slapped it. It got saved by Dostal. Like Dostal put a pad out and saved it, but Meyer was just there wide open by himself to pot in the rebound goal. Obviously, nothing for Dostal to do. He tried to make the save, but his defenders were not there to clear the puck, and Meyer was left wide open to score. And then the end of the period, and we get to the third period, and this is where the Czechs get their second of the game. Hronik basically shoots it. Natchez deflects it. So all this is happening in the air, but Hronik shoots the puck. Natchez deflects it, and then Chaplik basically doesn't it like tips off his stick and passes it across to Simek, who he's just as he's falling, he puts the puck into the net.
Oh,
And then with like a minute after that, P.S. Suter, what happens is Meyer shoots it, but it trickles slowly. So it was like kind of like a almost more than a pass than a goal than a shot. And then J.J. Moser, he basically touches it with his skate. And then the Czech defender, he tries to clear it, but it falls to P.S. Suter, and P.S. Suter pots it in. Then we see a few penalties, and this is where there was a goal that was called back. So what happened was Hronik shot the puck. The Swiss defender blocks it with his stick, and then the Swiss defender takes the puck and slaps it in with puts the puck in with his hand. But unfortunately, there was a goaltender interference in middle of that play, so the goal was waved off. And then the Lucas Dostal gets pulled, and this is where the Czechs score their third goal to equalize the game. but Natchez basically takes the puck in, gets a pass across, and one tees it on a 6-on-5. And then we go to overtime, and this is where the Swiss end it on a 2-on-1. And Dean Kukan keeps the puck, shoots the puck blocker side above the blocker, and scores a beautiful finish to win the game for the Swiss. And yeah, good game by the Swiss, good game by the Czechs. As we can see, the shot on goals was 32-29 for the Czechs. So the Czechs dominated that game shot wise, but unfortunately, the Swiss get the better end of the stick. And now, if Kyle can pull up the statistics, we will go over the statistics for. Obviously, we'll go slowly for the players, and then we'll go for the goalies real quick. All right, then we go to Leonard Giannoni for the Swiss. Allowed 3 goals on 32 shots and had a 906 save percentage. So he's definitely been one of the goalies of the tournament. He's been playing phenomenal for the Swiss. And then for the Czechs, on the other hand, as we can see, a few points that were taken here, but we will go to the goalie, which was actually Lucas Dostal, who allowed 4 goals on 29 shots and had an 862 save percentage. So not the best performance, but at the end of the day, you lost in overtime. Obviously, it doesn't count here in IIHF. It doesn't count for the points, but kudos to the Swiss. And I did make my prediction that the Swiss were going to upset the Czechs, and they did. So I was right about that.
Yeah, actually, Jakob, I have a correction for you because it actually does count as a point, but the point system in the IHF has the 3-2-1-0. So regulation win 3, obviously regulation loss 0. Overtime win is 2, and an overtime loss is 1 point. So there's
Okay,
a
makes
correction
sense.
for you. But yeah, it's like the system that some people are asking for in the NHL. But yeah, no, good game by both teams, and ultimately the Swiss got the better end of the stick in this one. And I'll move on to the second game on the schedule for today, which saw the Canadians go up against the French, which, oops, I should have had it scrolled at the top. That's my bad, gang. But yeah, we've seen Canada outscore France 10-2, and man, this was just a slaughterfest. 46-14 for shots, which is not the worst we've seen in this tournament, but it's pretty bad still. But anyways, going to your goal scores, which, oh my gosh, I just had it pulled up on my phone, and my phone screen just shut off as I was about to say what was happening, Jakob. But for Canada,
Wow.
the first goal for Canada ultimately comes by Tom Wilson, and this one was assisted by Drew Doughty and Connor McDavid. And what happened on this goal was Drew Doughty took a slap shot from the point, and Tom Wilson was kind of standing right on that left circle where, he's there, and the puck goes right off of, oh my gosh, who is the French goaltender? I will look. It was Julian Junka, and it goes right off of Junka and ends up bouncing right to Wilson, and he buries the rebound and ultimately puts the Canadians up 1-0. And by the way, in net for Canada, it is Jordan Binnington. But then not long after, the French scored their first, which was Florent Douay, assisted by Justin Adamo, and we'll go over it. So right off of the face-off after the Canadian goal, which, by the way, this one comes 13 seconds after the Canadian goal. But yeah, right off the face-off, the French dump it into the zone where Justin Adamo gets the puck on the right side, and he shoots it off the pads of Binnington where it bounces straight to Florian Douay on the left side of the net, and ultimately he puts it home for the French and gets them on the board. And at this point, the game's pretty close, but the Canadians very quickly, get themselves the lead back. And this one will come from Devon Taves, and this is assisted by Sid the Kid and Mitch Marner. And Sidney Crosby, Mark Stone, and Devon Taves went in on a 3-on-1, so only one French defender was back. And Crosby on the left side dropped it back to the high man in Taves, and Taves shoots it across the goaltender onto the blocker side, and he ends up beating, obviously, Julian Junka. And by the way, Julian Junka has yet to record a win on the international stage for the French that isn't a friendly match, Jakob. Assuming you didn't know that. I did actually see that stat earlier.
Wow,
But
I did not know that either, but now I know.
yes, sir. But yeah, going towards the end of the period, Travis Sanheim takes a penalty for holding, and that puts Canada on the PK. But unfortunately for the French, this PK ended up not being a bad one for the Canadians. And oh my goodness, my phone shut off again. But yeah, Mark Stone stole the puck when the French were trying to break it into the zone at center ice, and he steals it and he sends himself in on a breakaway and backhands it on into the net over the goaltender's glove with only 3.4 seconds left in the period. And yeah, it's not a good look if you're the French. But moving into the second period now, because that's the end of the period, then the French take a couple penalties here. Ultimately, the first one doesn't cost them by Kevin Bozon, but then Johanno Vitu, former Oiler, by the way, which I don't know if Jakob knew that,
Nope,
but
did not know that either.
yeah, former Oiler and former Devil for that matter. But yeah, Kale McCarr on the power play off the Johanno V2 penalty, which just came 16 seconds into the power play. He received a pass from Connor McDavid where at the point he kind of skates in closer, and just as the French defenders are about to pressure him, he absolutely snipes it because he had caught them all flat-footed. And same with the goaltender. He did not look ready for the shot, and yeah, he ends up scoring and ultimately puts them up. Then for your fifth goal of the game, which, by the way, there was a penalty taken against France, and Florian, oh my gosh, Chahaliva, yeah, I'm sorry, guys, I did not recite that one. I did not plan for me to be saying that.
Chakiachvili. Chakiachvili. It's Chakiachvili.
Shakachvili, there we go. As Yakov said, Shakachvili. But yeah, we have Macklin Celebrini who gets the Canadians on the board on his penalty shot, and he got hooked prior to the goal and ultimately did not get an adequate scoring chance, giving him a penalty shot. And he pulled off a nice backhand to forehand move and beat the goaltender Julian Junka on the blocker side. So, going into, or I guess after the Macklin Celebrini goal, Sidney Crosby gets the Canadians on the board literally 19 seconds after to make it 6-1, and this was assisted by Mark Stone. And this goal came from where Mark Stone off of the left wall ends up passing the puck to the middle to Sidney Crosby, and Crosby sees Marner down low by the net, and he ends up trying to flutter it to Mitch Marner, but the puck ends up getting deflected or blocked by the French defender, and unfortunately for Julian Junka, it rolls in right past his left pad, and that one's gotta hurt. But then now, that's the end of the second period. Going into the third period, the French don't start Julian Junka for this period. They actually pull him, and they decide to go with Antoine Keller for the third, which ultimately I don't think hurt them or helped them in either way. But just 20 seconds into the period, which I believe this was the first shot that, Antoine Keller faced in the game, which is very unfortunate for him. But Connor McDavid, starting the breakout, ends up getting the puck where he sends it to the left side to Macklin Celebrini, and Celebrini gets into the zone, and Connor McDavid, with the speed that he has and all the jokes about, French defenders going to blink and Connor McDavid is going to have crossed into their zone already. But yeah, Connor McDavid, he receives the puck and he was in one-on-one with Antoine Keller, and ultimately he buries it on the breakaway with a nice backhand move using his McDavid magic. Sorry, I had to squeeze that one in there because, we're Oilers fans over here and we love ourselves some Connor McDavid. But yeah, this was assisted obviously by Celebrini and Tom Wilson. Then moving to the French's second and last goal of the game. This one came from Sacha Trudel, and this was assisted by Justin Adamo and Pierre Crinon, which, by the way, we will summarize that shortly as to, something else that happened with him. But yeah, the French, yes, just over a minute after the Canadians had scored, break the puck into the zone, and Adamo gets the puck to Trail, where Trail just straight up slapshots the puck and beats Binnington clean from the left side and beats him over the glove. And yeah, I could not believe that shot and how clean it was, but good on him, and ultimately he got the French on the board again. Then moving on to the next goal, this came from Bo Horvat, assisted by Reinhart and Bennett. And after a lengthy amount of possession in the French zone, because this was a lengthy possession for the Canadians, Sam Bennett passed the puck to Sam Reinhart, who one-times it from the top of the right circle, but obviously Antoine Keller gets the save on this, and then Bo Horvat from a sharp angle gets the rebound and squeezes it between the post and Keller and puts the Canadians up 8-2. Then, not too long after, just over 5 minutes later, Brandon Hagel decided the Canadians were not done and puts them up 9-2, assisted by Nathan MacKinnon and Shea Theodore. And breaking it into the zone was Nathan MacKinnon, who was skating in, and he passes it to his right where Brandon Hagel is standing, and he one-times it right into the net. And yeah, that is what it is. But then Pierre Crino for the Canadians takes an interference penalty, and unfortunately for him, this would cost his team the 10th goal. And by the way, they did actually beat Italy in the tiebreakers. They were not the last place in the tournament, but yeah, still not good look losing 10-2. Although we saw what happened with Italy and Finland the other day, so hey. But yeah, Macklin Celebrini scores this one, assisted by Mark Stone and Mitch Marner. And ultimately, Mitch Marner gets the puck to Mark Stone, which he's down low by the net. And he ends up sliding it right through the slot where it kind of squeezes through a few guys and gets right to Macklin Celebrini, where he kind of does a nice stutter step move and ultimately puts it right into the top of the net. And beautiful play for them. And yeah, that's all the scoring for this game. But actually, this is a little bit of news regarding, Pierre Crignon, like I said earlier, and obviously Tom Wilson, where the two guys rough each other, and then I guess Pierre Crignon ended up taking. Oh wait, no, he didn't take an extra five. I was just reading the penalties in a weird order, but yeah, ultimately they end up having a fight where they both got the 2 minutes for roughing, then they got the 5 minutes for fighting. Because this is international play, they get a 20-minute penalty as well for a game misconduct. But they actually have no supplemental discipline, so neither player will be getting suspended for this one. So that is good to know. But yeah, then going into the final few minutes, which, oh sorry, Tom Wilson had a Gordie Howe hat trick. But yeah, going into the final few minutes, McKinnon takes a penalty for roughing, Makar takes a penalty for slashing, and that is all. And moving into the statistics in the game here, which I will pull them up now. Like I
I
said,
do want to
40.
say something before Kyle. Let me say something real quick before Kyle moves on. Kyle did actually make a mistake where he said that the Canadian took a penalty before Macklin Celebrini goal. It was actually the French who took a penalty. So if you heard the Canadian who took a penalty, we're sorry, but it was actually the French who took a penalty and the Canadians scored.
That was a good catch. I'm gonna be honest, I completely missed that, Jakob, and I apologize for my mistake. But that's what we do. If you make a mistake, you keep rolling and you don't worry too much about it. But yeah, we'll let you scroll down. A lot of Canadians, especially at the top here, had points. More guys than not, I think, had a point in this game for the Canadians since we scored 10. But Jordan Binnington, who only faced 14 shots, ends up allowing 2 goals and has himself an 857 save percentage, which ultimately was good enough in this one. And then moving over to the French side, which I will pull that up for you guys right now. And, a lot of, I guess, a large lack of points at the top here for the French, which, oh man, I did not mean to take a shot at the French like that. But yeah, ultimately, both goaltenders get into this one. Julian Junka, who starts this game, ends up allowing 6 on 33 and has an 818 save percentage for the French. And then Antoine Keller allows 4 on 13 and has a 692, which not good enough to beat the Canadians. And ultimately, your final score in this one is 10-2 in favor of Canada.
Yeah, good game by the Canadians, and me and Kyle, we were definitely happy because this is our team and they won. But we will move on to the next game, which saw the Danish versus the Latvians, and this game saw the Danish win 4-2. Although it was a very good game, and there was a lot of lead changes, and we will get to it. But the first goal was scored by Nick Olsen, and Nick Olsen kind of does all the work by himself to score this one. So what happens is the defender for the Latvians tries to clear the puck out of their zone, but Nick Olsen is there to block the skate. It falls to Agard, who he basically finds Olsen in front of the net, and he tips it in 5-hole in between the goalie to make it in between Shilovs to make it 1-0. Then we go to the Danish second goal of the game, which the Danish actually sorry, there was no lead changes. The Danish had the lead the whole time. The Latvians tried to make a comeback, but unfortunately, they didn't want to work out, and I will tell you guys why. So, the Danish's second goal, Olsen passes it in front of the net. Shilov tries to push the puck out with his stick, but he pushes it out to the wrong player, and Agard is there to put it in and beat him glove side. Then the Denmark scored the third goal, which was scored by Nicolas Ehlers, and Lurdsen slaps it. And Bjorkstrand, who does not have a stick, he's playing without a stick, basically passes it with his skate across to
Wow.
Ehlers. I did not know he had that much force on that puck to pass it across, and Ehlers just taps it in a wide open net. And then this is where the Latvians trying to make a comeback, but Zile shoots it from the blue line with traffic in front of the net. So they were screening Frederick Anderson all game, and this puck squeaks in like nobody, like you would look at it and it looks like someone touched it, but no, it squeaks in. Beautiful clean shot. And then Zile again. The faceoff is won in the offensive zone, and Zile takes the puck and passes it across the goal to Traumax, who Traumax just basically he taps it in into a wide open net. I don't know why, Frederick Anderson didn't put his stick on it because it was really close to him. And then we move to the Danish's fourth goal of the game, which this one was an empty netter, but Olsen shot the puck from the side of his own net, and basically it beats everybody, and he scores in an empty netter. But yeah, good performance. We did see Nick Olsen had 2 goals and 1 assist. We did see, and then we will go to the statistics now, which if Kyle can pull up the statistics real quick for everybody to see, we will talk about the goal scorers and show everybody real quick. But this is for the Danish. As we can see, a lot of players with a few points. And moving down to Frederick Anderson, who allowed 2 goals on 35 shots and had himself a 943 save percentage. So good performance. This was a key NHL, of his caliber performance by him. And then we will move on to the Latvian side, which, as we can see, not a lot of points. Definitely a little bit by Belinsky's. He had 26 minutes, but scrolling all the way down to the Arthur Shilas, who allowed 3 goals on 20 shots and had an 850 save percentage. Excuse me. So not the type of performance that I expected from Shilas. I expected him to do a little bit better, but obviously when you're facing a really good Danish side, it's hard to save some pucks and have a good save percentage. But obviously, we know that Arthur Shilas for the Pittsburgh Penguins is a phenomenal goalie. He has great numbers. Him and Stuart Skinner is a good tandem pairing, and I think based on the last few weeks, they've been one of the top goalie duos in the league because they've been phenomenal. Both of them have numbers over 900. But yeah, Arthur Shilas it struggles a little bit in the international side because maybe he doesn't have the right defenders. Maybe he just doesn't have the team in front of him like he does at Pittsburgh. So yeah, the good performance by the Danish, and the shot total was 35-21 in favor of the Latvians actually. But at the end of the day, the Danish come away because they score those 3 goals. And if they didn't score those 3 goals, early in the game, they probably would not have won this game.
Absolutely. And now I will move on to the last game on the schedule for today, which is I guess fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you ask, was a 5-1 win in favor of the United States over the Germans. And I mean, this one kind of stings a little bit because obviously we're cheering for our boys Leon Draisaitl and Josh Szymanski, but they're not done. They still have a chance to go out and win their next game. But ultimately, we'll get into your goal scorers, and oh my goodness, I was talking about how I was going to be so ready, to announce all the goals, and of course, Jakob, I flounder like always, and I have my phone turned off, but now it is turned on. So to start the game, we have Connor Hellebuyck, and it is Maximilian Franzreb. So, 7 minutes in the game, Lucas Kalbe takes a penalty for Germans for hooking, but ultimately that doesn't cost them anything. But then your first goal of the game comes from Zach Werenski, and this one is a single assist from Austin Matthews. And the puck ends up in the corner where there's a puck battle, and it ends up slipping right through the German player, right to Austin Matthews, where he sends the puck cross ice from the left side to the right to Zach Werenski, where he ends up beating the goaltender clean on the blocker side. And yeah, nice goal from Zach Werenski, and he puts the Americans up 1-0. Then going into the second period, Jack Eichel takes an early penalty, but the Germans do not capitalize on their power play. But then the Germans, Kai Wisman, takes a penalty, and here we go. Austin Matthews again, because he gets himself a goal this time instead of an assist. Ultimately gets his, oh my goodness, his first of the night, which, spoiler alert, he gets more than one. But yeah, he scored assisted from Quinn Hughes and Matthew Tkachuk, and Quinn Hughes ends up shooting it from the point, and it ends up slipping straight through the 5-hole of, oh brother, what's his name again? Maximilian Franzreb. And then it ends up going straight to him where he has an easy tap-in goal, and good for him to get his team on the board. But then a few minutes later, Zach Werenski takes a penalty. It doesn't cost him nothing. Then Brock Faber scores the third goal for the Americans, which, oh, my apologies. Austin Matthews' first goal of the game was the game winner, by the way. Yeah, Brock Faber assisted by Matthew Tkachuk and his brother Brady, which good to see, the brother connection coming up huge for the Americans. But yeah, the U.S. end up dumping the puck into the zone on where I guess this was Brady Tkachuk, where he dumps it right around the boards to Matthew Tkachuk, where Matthew Tkachuk just slides the puck to the point to Brock Faber, and he shoots it right onto Maximilian Franzreb. And Franzreb, unfortunately for him, misplays the floater, and he ends up hitting it off of his glove, and it ends up going right into the top right corner of his, or I guess top left corner from the perspective of the player shooting on him, and ends up slipping right into that net. And yeah, not a great look, but fortunately for him, that's what happened. And yeah, that's the end of the second period. And going into the third period, we have obviously a goal from Tage Thompson here. And this was less than 2 minutes into the period, assisted by Dylan Larkin and Jake Sanderson. And on this goal, Tage Thompson received a pass from Dylan Larkin, which Dylan Larkin was quite low in the zone, kind of near the goal line. And Tage Thompson was standing up near the point, and he ends up one-timing it home from the point, straight past Franzreb. And yeah, we all know Tage Thompson is a very good shooter, and he will score 40 or 50 goals a year for a very long time in the NHL. But he gets himself his second goal of the tournament, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe that is his second of the tourney. But then, pretty much 5 minutes later, Austin Matthews, which I foreshadowed earlier, his second of the night. And this goal is very similar to his first, where ultimately Jake Sanderson ends up shooting the puck where it kind of is a weird bounce, like hits off of, I believe, a German defender's stick and kind of goes off the crossbar. And unfortunately for Franzreb, the puck ends up sitting in his crease right behind him. And guess who's there? Austin Matthews, of course. And he buries it to put the Americans up 5-0. The Germans do have a single answer, though, and that will come from Tim Stützle, who, where I guess this was assisted by JJ Peterka, and JJ Peterka ends up winning a puck battle against Jake Gunsel, and he passes it to Tim Stützle, who right from the slot, or I guess just to the left of the slot, ends up roofing it and beats Connor Hellebuck on the high glove. But then near the end of the game, Matthew Tkachuk would take an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and then that would be it. And your score would stand 5-1, and the U.S. outshot the Germans 37-24. And then moving on to your statistics for this game, which obviously we'll go over the Americans first. And yeah, I'll scroll down here, but Matthew Tkachuk with 2 assists, Quinn Hughes with an assist, Matthews with 2 goals and an assist, Jake Sanderson had himself a pretty good night. But Connor Hellebuck, who kept a lot of pucks out of the net, ends up allowing 1 on 24 to have a 958 save percentage, and that would be more than good enough to win this one. And then moving over to the Germans, where I do believe, Maximilian Franzreb had himself an excellent game, but ultimately was not good enough in this one. But Draisaitl unfortunately did not record a point for the Germans, but Stützle had the only goal assisted by JJ Peterka again. And then for Franzreb, he allowed 5 goals on 37 shots for an 865 save percentage. And there you have it, folks. The final score in this one was 5-1 for the USA.
And I do know that Wes McCauley was the referee for this game, and me and Kyle definitely have some questionable thoughts about Wes McCauley and his refereeing career, especially with the Edmonton Oilers. Because I don't know if it's the same McCauley, but I think that Wes McCauley does not like the Edmonton Oilers because every time he refs us, he always finds a way to screw us up. Am I right, or what do you think about Wes McCauley in Edmonton, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, unfortunately, but I do think that, maybe you're giving him a hard rep. And unfortunately, maybe for him, it's just one of those games where it's like, the Oilers end up taking more penalties in a game where he's reffing for whatever reason, and it's just a coincidence, too. But next time Wes McCauley's reffing one of our games, I'll definitely be paying attention. I will have my opinions on that for sure.
All right.
Uh,
Well, with that being said, yeah, if you can go ahead and continue with what you had to say.
yeah, well, actually, I have nothing more to say about the games, so, and I'm ending the stream because obviously we have no games tomorrow, and so yeah, that's it for obviously the schedule. And I do think we had a lot of really good games today, and I think you can agree with that one, Jakob.
No, I actually enjoyed today's game. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch any of the games because I was at work all day. But I tuned into the Canada game a little bit while my I was driving home from church. My brother had it on his phone, and I was listening to it. And although I missed all the goals, I'm glad that to see that the Canadians won. So yeah, as Kyle mentioned, there is no games for tomorrow, so there will be no daily face-off starting goalies. But there is games not tomorrow, but the next day, and we will do the schedule for the games and the starting goalies tomorrow on tomorrow's podcast. But yeah, going into the picks of the day, which unfortunately we can't make any for tomorrow because
Mhm.
there's no games. Kyle unfortunately went 0 for 2 yesterday. He put Latvia to beat the Danish and they lost, and he put a Draisaitl goal thinking it was going to happen again because the first time hit, he thought this time. And I actually went with an upset. I took the Swiss to beat the Czechs, which they did in overtime, and then I put a McDavid goal thinking he was going to get his get back. And I don't know if Kyle mentioned this, but that is McDavid's ninth point in 9 periods, and he broke the
Ooh.
record, which was set by that was set by Jonathan Tays. So just 3 games it took him to get 9 points, and yeah, he is on pace to break a yet another record, which is 11 points.
Wow, that is very impressive. And actually, Jakob, for that note, I actually do have something we can predict on tomorrow, and this is the semifinals for the women's Olympic hockey. If you would like to predict on that,
Interesting.
so I will tell
Well,
you
you're
our
gonna have to. You're gonna have to.
matchups. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
Jakob, I did not mean to cut you off, but we only have two matchups
No, no, no,
tomorrow
no, no. I
for.
was.
We keep cutting each other off. Oh, brother.
Go. Just go. Just go. You're good.
All right. So the two games we have tomorrow. The first one for tomorrow is the USA facing off against Sweden, and that will be at 8:40 a.m. Mountain Time and 10:40 a.m. Eastern Time. And then the second and final game for the day has the Canadians taking on the Swiss, and that will be at 1:10 p.m. Mountain Time and 3:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And Jakub, I think I'll let you, make your pick first. And obviously for this, since we do not know the players well enough, we will only be picking on the money line.
Well, all right. You don't even have to tell me twice. I am a Canadian blood, and I'm taking my Canadians to win and go to the finals. So I will take Canada to beat the Swiss.
All right, and with the dominant tournament that I am aware that the United States is having in this one, I am actually going to take the U.S. to beat the Swedes, and I think we will see a you know, Canadian American final for women's hockey for the gold medal.
I'm excited, and I do know that the Canadians want to get their get back after losing 5-0 the first time to the US. So, hopefully we will see it. But yeah, I put Canada to win, and then Kyle put the US to win. So, with that being said, Kyle, what is the question of the video?
Oh, brother. I keep thinking, I'm like, oh, I gotta come up with this question in advance. And unfortunately for me, I did not come up with this question in advance. So, let's just, we can think about a good one, Jakob. And I think, we can definitely come up with one. Hmm. You know what? I got a good question for everyone. I think, outside of hockey, which obviously, because this is a hockey podcast, what is your guys' favorite sport?
Hmm.
And
I want to hear the answer to you. Kyle, what's your answer?
oh, brother, that's a very tough one because I like a lot of sports. To be honest, I curl, I do some running, but I think if I had to choose my second favorite sport, I feel like it's different between playing and watching. Because my second favorite sport to watch, I think would be like soccer or if you live in England, football, because I think it's fun to watch. But to play, I think it would definitely be. I honestly think it might have to be like long distance running, bro. That would because I don't know, I enjoy it, bro. It's
Mhm.
fun. And I want to hear
The
yours
two
though.
sports that I would
Yeah.
the two sports that I would choose would be soccer, obviously because I play it, and tennis. I enjoy watching tennis. Like I will be if there's a big tournament and I know some players, I wake up in the morning and I watch the games, right? Sometimes don't tell anybody this, but I do watch it during class sometimes when we're not doing anything. I'll turn on tennis and I'll even bet on some, but I'd rather just watch it than bet on it because my betting with tennis has not been the best.
Womp womp. But yeah, no. I will make sure to email all of Jakob's teachers.
I do not do that. Please do not do that.
I don't know your teachers anyway, so I couldn't even if I wanted to. But I have connections. I could figure something out, Jakob. So, shh.
Oh no, 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 no. This it's only when we don't have work to do, and we're just supposed to do our own stuff, or I do it. It's one of those days where, like, if it's a boring day and they're taka taka taka, and we've already known the assignment, I like to turn on the tennis games. But obviously this semester I haven't done much because unfortunately, the classes that I'm in are I actually need to focus on. But there were some classes specifically last year, not last semester, because last semester I had online a lot of online, but the year before that, my freshman year, there was some classes that I already knew all the answers to. So, or we there was one college algebra. We literally were she was going over the homework that I already had finished, and I had all the right answers. I got 100. So while she was doing that, I was turning on tennis and watching tennis with my best friend. So
Heck yeah, bro. I mean, that's what it's about, The whole college and university experience is not all about, the education. It's about enjoying yourself and oh, I thought you were disagreeing with me for a second. I'm like, oh, it is all about learning.
oh
Okay
no no
then.
no 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 no. Trust me, I've been in college for 2 years, and I can tell you that, bro. People in college, they make it seem like, when you're a senior in high school and you go to your university, right? They make it seem like, oh, they prioritize education, but they don't. Okay, the school university is not actually all about education. It's also about having fun, meeting new people, and especially if you're on a sports team, it is like it makes you make connection. Like Tuesday, every Tuesday of the first Tuesday of every month, we go bowling and we play pool. So it's all about the fun and the experience. Yes, education comes with a part because you're there to get a degree, but it's also the education. It's also the experience and the fun you make with friends.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. And, that was like the high school experience for me, Hang out with friends, get yourself your high school diploma and move on with your life. Because let's be honest, we all just move on after
Yeah.
high school. And that's life, bro. That's life.
I do. I do miss the high school life, though. I will not lie. I had the high school life, playing soccer, going on road trips with the soccer team.
Hmm.
That was quite an experience. When we used to go all the way to, like, Kyle wouldn't knows, but we used to go all the way to, like, Germantown, Madison Central, even the Gulf Coast of, like, Biloxi and what was it, Long Beach, and playing games there. I think it was really fun. Although we didn't get the results we wanted, and there wasn't. I think the only reason that I do is because I was staying in rooms with friends, because it was an overnight trip, and I was staying with friends, and we were just having fun. You know, one time some of my friends, we snuck out to the beach in the middle of the night when we were supposed to have curfew. Unfortunately, yes, I believe they did get caught and they got told to come back. But yeah, it was just a fun experience. And one time, since we have some time, I will tell a story about one time on a road trip we went to. We went to Laurel, Mississippi, which is like maybe like 3 hours from where I lived, but we were on an overnight trip, and the next day we went to the mall. We went to, like, this crazy mall, and I was with my other goalie friend who was a senior graduating, and I was a freshman. Well, I was technically supposed to be a sophomore, but I was a freshman. Or yeah. And what happened was we were just chilling. We just finished soccer, so we were going to the mall to do some shopping, or it was the day before. And my friend forgot shin pads at home. So I went with him to this sporting good called Dick's Sporting Good, and we were
Oh,
getting
brother.
shin pads, because he couldn't play otherwise. And I just remember getting a bunch of phone calls from my teammates saying, "Where are you? We're about to leave. The bus is here, and we're all on the bus. Where are you guys?" And I just remember, like, we were on the other side of the mall. Like, the bus was here, and we were on the other side of the mall. So I think it was just funny. We started running. We started running completely. Like, we were like, was like, "Oh my god, we're like, are they gone?" And my friend is over here, paying for his shin pads, and I was like, "Bro, we got to get going." So I think that was the experience. And then I get on the bus and everyone's like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "Bro, he forgot shin pads, so we had to stop and get shin pads. Otherwise, he couldn't play." But yeah, I think the memories of all the memories of high school. I enjoyed the memories of high school. And yes, for the record, I did bleach my hair in high school, as you guys can see in this
Oh,
picture. I did
brother.
bleach my hair. It was not for a playoff game or anything. I just decided. my one of my I don't remember, one of my brothers was bleaching their tips, and so I was gonna do the same, and then apparently we just had extra leftover, so I just told my mom, just do my whole hair, don't do the tips. So this is me, you know, this is my commitment post to Weber University, but this is me in a high school jersey, and yes, my hair is dyed for everybody. So obviously, I like the brown more. I think it suits me more. But I just went through that experience with having blonde hair, and when I was younger, I used to always want to get blonde hair. So I didn't like it. I didn't mind it. I kind of liked it. It suited, it looked good on me. But yeah, no, never doing that again.
Oh man, that's like in grade 7 when we were like all like I seen a friend of mine who in the I guess junior high. That was first year of junior high where I went to Westwood, and oh my gosh, there was this one kid who I was friends with that ended up getting frosted tips, and for whatever reason, I decided it would be a good idea to get frosted tips as well, and that created some of the most atrocious photos I have in my entire existence. And I had frosted tips for a tournament that we did. We went to Hinton that year on a hockey tournament, and obviously, at this point, I was not playing a very high tier of hockey, but it was very fun. And it was it was like the hockey challenge. Here, wait, actually, Yakov, if you give me a moment, I'll take the headset off for a second. But oh, I think the jersey might be in my hockey bag. Okay, well, I'll show it off next time we do a YouTube video. But it's, yeah, like the hockey challenge in Hinton. And they had like former NHLers like Glenn Anderson and George Larocque. And the only time I met those guys, I had frosted tips. And it's absolutely
Bro, we gotta
horrific.
see a picture with your frost. Do you have a picture with your frosted tips, bro?
I do on my phone, but probably what we'll do is I think Jakob, next time we do a YouTube video, we'll comprise a couple old photos of ourselves, and we'll like. I think Loki, I might have frost. No, I did. I already gotten rid of them. I was thinking about our last photo that we had like when we first started the podcast from like when we were kids, right before you moved away. You know what picture I'm talking about in your Canucks hat,
Oh yeah.
where I
Oh
gave.
yeah. I have it. I have it.
It's somewhere.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Canucks hat is gone. I lent it to a friend, and then he stole it and didn't give it back to me. So
Damn. Well,
yeah.
I mean, well, it's probably for the best because you aren't a Canucks fan no more, and I would have been worried about you burning it, Jakob. So
Oh, I
rest in
was I
free,
was so ready to burn it.
rest in peace, Canucks hat. But oh man, we're gonna have. I honestly, we're gonna tell so many stories on this show. It's gonna be crazy.
I
Which,
think
yeah,
I think that's what we're gonna do. I think that's what we're gonna do for the Instagram story. I think we're gonna put that old picture of me and Kyle with the Canucks and Oilers hat for you guys to see, and we're gonna put it an old picture. I have it. I'll send it to Kyle, and he can post it as the either the thumbnail for the YouTube or the story for the Instagram. We'll see.
I won't make it just a story, Jakob. I'll post it as a post, so
Ah,
everyone can
okay,
just
okay.
look at it. They can just stare at it for as long as they want. Someone could get obsessed with that photo for all we know.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, I didn't know that we were. Yeah, obviously, it was times, bro. It was
Oh,
times. I could go on and on about all the memories I've made with Kyle over the years, but for the sake of this YouTube video, and we're just gonna keep it short, and we're gonna keep it to where we keep all those memories private because there are some memories that need to be kept private.
some, but I don't. We definitely have like. I mean, we'll definitely tell like some skiing stories and whatnot because we got quite a few good ones of those at Vista Ridge. You know what I'm talking. Oh,
Aw.
bro. Oh,
Oh, the butt skiing, the butt, and this is currently a work in progress. I've already told Kyle, but me and Kyle are actually we might recreate the butt skiing because me and the family are thinking of coming back down to Canada to go to Lake Louise skiing, and me and Kyle might meet up, and we might even do a podcast together on the like we'll be together when we do the podcast. So we will see.
oh, bro. That's not a maybe. That is a we will because. Believe it or not, we are not quitters around here. We don't quit, and we will be doing this podcast regardless of the popularity. We will still be doing it a year from now, and that is not
Yeah, me and
optional.
Kyle, me and Kyle, me and Kyle we're gonna do a few days we're gonna do YouTube videos, and we're not gonna be like grid view. We're gonna be like right beside each other doing it.
Yeah, and it's gonna be beautiful because yeah, it'll be like we'll have the episode and we'll be the audio will be so just
Yeah, well, I'm
chef's
waiting for
kiss.
that day. I'm waiting for that day that I get to. I'm waiting for next spring break so I can come see Kyle. I will be in Canada for 10 days. That's the plan. So Yeah, I'm excited to do some skiing. We're gonna be talking about our ski experience. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun. I'm so excited.
Oh, brother, that's gonna be great. I'm actually looking forward to that. I hope it
I'm
actually
also
goes
and
through.
also
It should. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
also I do want to mention that the I haven't told Kyle this, but the Kyle, you will want to bring your hockey skates and your hockey stay because we will be going on Lake Louise and doing some ODR hockey.
All right, bet. I'm down. I'm so down. I got you,
I
bro.
will be buying some skates. I'm gonna go to Sport Check and I'm gonna buy some skates and a stick,
Mhm.
and I will be playing. Kyle, we will recreate me and you against David and Anthony.
It'll be very different now because David and Anthony are a lot older now, and they play. I mean, me and you don't play. I mean, I play, occasionally on men's league, and Jakob has not played hockey in, oh, brother.
I've
So
skated, but I've never. So we'll see. But yeah,
yeah, we're gonna get
make sure you
cooked.
bring your skates and your stick because we're gonna be playing. No, we won't. I think we'll hold our end.
Here's the thing: they don't got the chemistry that we got.
Oh no no, and it is gonna be on those little small nets. It won't be on the big net, so they could just shoot it from center ice and score.
Oh, okay, bet. We're chilling then. We can just play good defense. Lock it down, Jakob.
All right, all right. With that being said, since this episode is taking a little long to expect, we're gonna go ahead and hit the outro. We will talk more about memories and plans for that trip, but that spring break trip is going to happen. It is a work in progress that has already been established. Because I was gonna come down this summer to see you for a little bit, but my mom said we wait. I work this summer, and then next spring break, as my dad really wants to go skiing, we will come down. So I am coming down. I will let you know all the details when we buy our plane tickets and all that. So you can, and yes, you can stay with us in the cabins. Don't worry. You're gonna stay with us in the cabins the whole 10 days, and when we leave, you leave to go back home. So with
Yeah,
that
I'll,
being
I'll
said,
go home.
yeah, it was an interesting, episode today. We talked a lot about, all the stuff that we did, all the memories, and we will talk about this on all the other YouTube videos. This isn't going to be the last YouTube video. We talk about memories of everything. And yes, from time to time, if we don't have much to talk about, like probably tomorrow, we will talk about some other memories and stuff. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening and watching the YouTube video. Make sure you click like and subscribe on this YouTube video to follow make sure you go follow our Instagram, IKNHL Daily Talk, and our podcast, which is the same thing. Iacob and Kyle Slinchuk signing out. Peace out, everyone. We will see you all tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Peace out, guys.